Ammonia leak on Russian section of the International Space Station, the ISS, has now ceased, but the astronauts remain cautious. Every couple of months, we have leaks from the ISS. Whether it's ammonia or oxygen, the toxic coolant leak discovered on Russia space station equipment is only the latest in a series of malfunctions in recent months. On Wednesday, October 11, a coolant leak, that's just yesterday of course, a coolant leak on Russian module of the International Space Station, the ISS, appears to have stopped 2 days after being discovered, NASA wrote in its blog. Space station astronauts were never in any danger, quote unquote, due to the ammonia leak that began Monday, October 9, NASA officials said. Still, the space agency has postponed 2 previously scheduled spacewalks, October 12, that's today, and October 20th. While NASA engineers continue to review the situation, ammonia is so toxic that spacewalks nearby the substance must have extra precautions built in to reduce exposure risks to astronauts. On Monday, toxic ammonia flakes were observed on the International Space Station, ISS Russian Nuka Multipurpose Laboratory Module MLM, around 1 p.m. EDT. Personnel in NASA's Mission Control in Houston first spotted the possible leak on camera. Agency astronaut Jasmine Mogbelli, on board the ISS, confirmed the backup radiator leak after looking at it through the station's warp-around cupola window, NASA's officials wrote in an update 5 hours later. NASA officials emphasized that the backup radiator leak had no impacts on the crew or to space station operations, and that the primary radiator for Nuka continues to work normally. NASA officials added that the leak, the latest in the series aboard Russian ISS equipment in recent months, remains under investigation. Russia's Federal Space Agency Roscosmos confirmed the leak to NASA, and also in a statement on Telegram. The temperature at the MLM is comfortable, the Russian officials wrote on Telegram, translation provided by Google, and they also said that there are no changes to operations, experiments, or crew exercise periods. The leaky backup radiator, also originally from the different Russian module aboard the space station called Rassvet, and was delivered to the ISS via Space Shuttle mission STS-132 back in 2010. A Roscosmos spacewalk in April 2023 transferred the then functional backup radiator to Nuka. Ammonia is required to cool the ISS because the station system produces waste heat, according to NASA documentation. Waste heat is removed through cold plates, devices that cool electronics, and heat exchangers. Both these device types require circulating ammonia coolant located in a closed-loop system on the outside of the space station. The warmed ammonia's heat releases into space via radiators, such as the leaky one aboard Nuka, allowing for the liquid's recirculation in the loop for a new round of cooling. The Nuka leak is the latest in a string of ISS Russian equipment coolant escapes in recent months. Roscosmos has said the last 2 incidents were likely due to micrometeoroid impacts, although Harvard-Smithsonian space analyst Jonathan McDowell told The Guardian he suspects there is a systemic problem. You've got 3 coolant systems leaking. There's a common thread there. 1 is whatever, 2 is a coincidence, 3 is something systemic, McDonald said in the report. McDowell is an astrophysicist and astronomer who also tracks launches, re-entries, and other major spaceflight milestones. The most dramatic of the 2 other Russian leaks was December 2022 incident aboard the Soyuz MS-22 spacecraft. Shortly before a scheduled Roscosmos spacewalk, 2 cosmonauts were in fact already suited up to exit the station just before the leak happened. The extravehicular activity was cancelled due to the risk to the cosmonauts. Roscosmos next examined its option for the spacecraft, then set to carry 3 astronauts home in early 2023, including American astronaut Frank Rubio, who would inadvertently spend a record-setting 371 consecutive days aboard the ISS due to the Soyuz malfunction. The Russian agency determined it was best to quickly send up an empty replacement Soyuz MS-23 and return MS-22 back to Earth for analysis. Soyuz crews typically launch every 6 months. As such, the relief Soyuz crew was not fully trained yet for the accelerated MS-23 launch February 2023, necessitating a wait until yet another spacecraft, MS-24, was ready in September to carry them to the ISS. After the relief crew arrived, the 3 MS-22, MS-23 astronauts then returned home in the replacement spacecraft, having been required to spend 12 months on the ISS instead of 6 to accommodate the spacecraft changeover. In the meantime, the Russian cargo spacecraft Progress 82 also sprung an ammonia leak February 2023. There have been other incidents with Russia's ISS equipment in recent years. Faulty software aboard Nuka when it first docked with the ISS in July 2021, for example, briefly tilting the space station and causing NASA's Mission Control to declare an emergency, although the crew was never in any danger and the situation was swiftly and safely rectified. And another Russia-Soyuz spacecraft docked with the orbiting complex in 2018 somehow ended up with a hole which was plugged by orbiting astronauts before the spacecraft safely returned home. The cause may have been a malfunctioning manufacturing defect, although reports also emerged in 2021 that Roscosmos was trying to blame US astronauts for the situation. Tensions erupted between Russia and most of the other ISS partners in February 2022, following Russia's unsanctioned invasion of Ukraine that year, which is ongoing. Relations regarding the ISS have been normal, NASA officials continue to emphasize, but most other space partners between Russia and the ISS partners have been severed amid the war. The ISS is scheduled to continue operations until at least 2030, although Russia has only committed to 2028 up to now. This was originally on space.com, and it's on Live Science by Elizabeth Howell, space.com. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.